Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Tonight we're going to do more information on Farming Sim 17. These are the latest informations that we have. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not more coming out, but it is October 7th. I think at this point, don't know why my kids were screaming on the way up the steps. Those of you that are familiar with my channel know that I have 6 children. I'm a single dad, and I run my own business. What was I thinking? It's nuts. But anyway, So anyway, we have a list of the known supposedly features by Mark from Giant Software. I think this guy's actually M-A-R-K, or M-A-R-C. I think he's actually one of the people from Giant Software that's making this list. We're also going to go through the equipment changes, things that have shown up on the list. Doesn't mean we're not going to see more, but at this point, I don't think they're going to be adding anything more to the game. It is October 7th. We are less than a month away from the release, which means that these games, you know, as you know, when you make discs, they have to go to print. So usually that happens a month or more before the actual release of the game because they have to get them to the store. They have to get them made and get them to the stores. So there's about a 30-day area there. It doesn't mean they can't make it changes in a patch. And for those of us that bought the Steam edition or are buying it from the website for the download edition, all of that stuff should be fine. We should, you know, it'll have the latest edition. People that bought the disc may have to patch it when they get it because obviously sometimes, you know, manufacturers release it, they find out a bunch of bugs the day that it's released, and then within 24 to 48 hours they release a patch. That does happen quite frequently. But this is what we know so far. Once again, this guy is pretty reliable, I think. This is on the Giants forum, and this is something that he released, saying here's the things that we know so far. So obviously we have sunflowers and soybeans, cover crops, oilseed radish. So these will grow. Let's see, you can actually grow these oilseed radishes, and then you can cultivate them once they're grown for a 30% benefit yield on the field. You have to do it each time you plant a crop. You do those first, and then you plow them in, and then you're going to do it. So it works like a fertilizer, basically. All crops can be cultivated in this way to get a yield benefit unless they are dead. So you can actually do any crop. You could plant corn. You could do, you know, wheat, canola, but it doesn't make sense because other crops are worth more when they're sold than when you do it. But the cheap oilseed radish is not worth anything, so you just use it as fertilizer. There's a new fertilizing system. Fields that are not fertilized will lose or will yield less crop. It says fertilizing once nearly gets you to the F16 base. 2 times will put the yield slightly above the FS15 base. Fertilizing 3 times will yield about the same as FS15 did when you had only fertilized once. That doesn't make any sense because they're saying that doing it twice will get you above FS15. Oh, base. Base, that means unfertilized. So what they're doing here is there's a 3-stage fertilization. The first time you fertilize, it gets you to the regular unfertilized field almost. It's less than that, but it gets you close. The second time you fertilize, it's going to actually bring it closer to, or it's going to put you slightly above what a unfertilized field in FS15 did. If you do it 3 times, it's going to be as if you fertilized the field in FS15. So you're not going to ever get more crops, but you're going to have to work harder to get those same amount of crops. Between each fertilization, either the soil must be worked, cultivated, plowed, sown, etc., or the plants have to grow at least 1 stage before you can fertilize again. So you can't fertilize 3 times and then have the crops grow. You're going to have to fertilize, come back the next day, check them. They should have grown a stage, fertilize them again. Then they're going to grow 1 more stage, and then you're going to fertilize them again. So you'll do it from before you, like as you plant or before you plant. Then you'll see the little sprouts. You'll fertilize again, and then when they become actually stalks, you can fertilize them 1 more time. So it's kind of cool because that makes it a little bit more realistic. Farmers have to spray and fertilize and water their fields in real life. So this is making it so that you have to do a little bit more work. You can put down, and I would recommend putting down your solid fertilizers first, like your manure, stuff like that. Then you can do slurry, and then you cultivate, and then you start doing sprays, so like pesticides and stuff like that in real life. It looks like they're doing weeding too. I don't know if that's going to be in it, but it sounds like it. So they're also making it easier for modders to work within the systems. That's pretty cool. Plowing will be required now. In the old game, in FS15, you didn't have to plow. You are now going to have to plow. Now, we've talked about this a little before. But that's really cool. You'll start to lose yield if you don't plow after 3 harvests. Grass. There's no meadows anymore, only fields on which grass grows. So you'll no longer be able to just run over all the neighbors' fields and mow. You're going to have to plant a field with grass, and you're going to have to fertilize it and do the same things that you do with everything else, and then you're going to have to mow it. It says, additionally, it means that sowing the grass no longer destroys the field borders. So you're basically not going to be able to mow all over the place anymore. You're going to have to actually make hay-bearing grass to feed your animals. You can't, or to make silage. And this is one of the things that people are going to get mad about. The silage, we'll talk about that in a minute. Silage has changed. Let's see. Okay, they now have a new Lizard R500 roller. Its only function is to delete the foliage and delete layers. So if you've combined fields or done things like that, instead of planting grass to fix it, you're just going to run the roller over it. It's going to take it back to the factory, quote unquote, setting. It's going to go back to the way that it was originally, and there'll be nothing left but the original terrain. It says don't buy it in multiplayer, and your fields are safe from grassing. Okay, helpers can now see and evade objects such as trees, hedges, buildings when encountering dynamic objects. They will have various turning strategies, including reversing. But they can kind of almost like the harvester mod. They can now also mow, ted, and windrow, as well as using the trailing harvester, like attached choppers and the like. So if you have like a trailer harvester, you guys have seen those before, where they have like the chop harvesters that go on the side, or maybe even like to think of it this way, like a bale wrapper. It says they'll be able to do that now. Now, it doesn't say specifically bale wrapping here. It says that they can mow, ted, and windrow. But that's cool because now you can run one tractor running a mower and hire a worker to come behind you and mow or windrow. And this is something that came from the 2016 mobile version. The mobile version of the game, you can actually hire people to do all of those functions. So it's cool to see that they've included that now in the actual PC game. We can now hire workers to do grass work too. And the reason being is because the grass is no longer just everywhere. It's in specific fields. So they're just going to follow the field like they do before. But that's nice because you'll be able to actually have people hired to do your field work. And that helps a lot when you're doing the animals. You know, like you've been watching my Animal Farm series, and I have to mow all the time. And I can't hire somebody to do any of the work except for follow me. I use that, but it's just, doesn't work. On hard mode, the workers will use diesel, seeds and fertilizers and so forth. Additionally, they can take slurry and manure directly from the pits. That's really cool. They'll automatically grab it from the depot, and you can set that in the options. But that's really neat that it actually allows you to do that, because you no longer have to you don't have to keep bringing slurry up and filling them up when they get empty and paying for fertilizer. Because what happened in FS15, when they would run out of slurry, instead of grabbing it from the tanks, they'd start charging you for it. So like manure or slurry, it was that way both ways. So they fixed that now. They actually pull it from your supply first. Then they start charging you for it. So that's a really great feature. Now this is great. This is going to make a huge difference. Physical material integration. Unlike previously, where materials, which are crops, grass, straw, manure, etc., could only exist within your containers, which would be like the silo inside of a grain tank. Like if you harvested a field and dumped it in a trailer, you could then dump it in your silo, but you couldn't dump it anywhere else. It will actually dump onto the ground now. You can actually dump your harvest right on the ground. And now, of course, it'll ruin it. I think in real life it does, but you wouldn't want to dump wheat in a pile. You're going to put it in a silo to get it dried out and get it so it's edible. But you can actually drop things on the ground. There are no longer windrows as an abstract fruit type. There's now simply straw, grass, or hay. And it's simply dropped on the ground when harvesting and mowing and so on. So in other words, we have the ability to move things around anywhere on the map. And if you like say mistakenly dump your trailer onto the ground, you can get a bucket loader and come and dig it back up and put it back in the trailer. It's pretty cool. Let's see, it's got a 0.5 meter accuracy. It cannot flow through collisions. This feature opens up many possibilities. It really does. So it's really neat. So now you can put anything anywhere, and I love that. You'll have expandable silos. They've taken a tip from Farm Expert. You actually have to, each silo has a 100,000 liter capacity. You will have to you can put silo extensions near the silo. You have to extend your silos if you want them to get bigger. You can now start the sugar beets, potatoes, wood chips, etc. can now be stored anywhere using the physical integration. So that, going back up to the previous point, you can actually save you can just dump your potatoes out somewhere. You don't have to put them in a building. There are various shelters and some functional buildings like a workshop, which can be placed. So you'll actually be able to put workshops down. I think they stole that from a mod. So in this case, you can actually get a workshop going and fix your tractors, but you can place it in places, which is really cool. The workshop allows you to reconfigure your machinery without having to pay a mechanic to do it. It's a more convenient location than having to go to the shop. So that's really cool. Here we go. Here's some nice big changes. The economy. Crop prices fluctuate much stronger. Might be more strongly. I don't know. And differently at various selling stations so that you no longer can have the same crop which will deliver to the same station all the time on average. What? Oh, okay. So in other words, some places like the bakery was always paying more for potatoes than anywhere else, or the train was always paying less. They're saying now that the prices are actually going to fluctuate all over the map. So sometimes you'll take it one place, but then it's going to go drop, and then the other place it's going to go up. You'll have a supply and demand thing going on, so you're going to be delivering all over the map instead of just that same place over and over again. Like one place always takes canola. That's really cool. So we have a dynamic economy. You're going to have to deliver to different people. Let's see. Now, like in FS15, but changed, all activities have an on-par economic value. What that means is everything's worth the same. So you might get more money for canola, but you're going to make the same amount when it's all said and done because canola does not yield as much as wheat and barley. So it ends up being the same. If I put a field down of canola or I put a field down of wheat, I'm going to get the same amount of money. Silage. Here we go. Are you guys ready for this one? Silage was nerfed. Silage is now back on par with the other activities in terms of economic value. So you no longer can use silage as a money bonanza. There goes my channel and any future subscriptions that I was hoping for from making the power of silage video. It's nerfed for 2017. Let's swallow that information for a minute and silently weep and then move on. The animals are going to be very expensive. This is to make them more realistic with the economic balance, because you have fields that grow in 3 days, so you're going to have to pay more for animals. Likewise, the maintenance and renting costs are very high to balance the incredibly fast-growing crops. So they're trying to balance the game a little bit better by making expenses for tractors, maintenance, and all that kind of stuff way expensive. Now, I know some of you were saying you don't like that. Obviously, if you don't like the way it plays, you can definitely play on easy or normal and make it a little bit easier for yourself, but it's going to be harder than it was originally. Great demands still exist. They're far less strong in order to keep people from hoarding crops. So you will have great demands, but they're not going to pay what they used to pay. That's what it is. The price overview has been overhauled. It's much clearer now that the crops are in columns and the selling points are in rows than the wrong way around. So what they're looking at the interface and making it better, so you can actually see what's worth what, and it's the same layout, but it's going to be switched. So you're going to have all the crops along the top and then the places that are paying for it along the side, and that makes more sense. It really does make more sense. Slurry and manure can now be sold at the biogas plant. So you can actually sell your slurry and manure. Now, there were lots of mods that did that, but they're adding that into the game. There's a lot more info in the tabs for cost and prices to benefit the clever farmer that does not want to run his farm into debt. There's a new mission system. Now, we've always had missions in their games. Giants has been, always had missions. They're goofy. But this case, it sounds like they're making it a little bit better. All fields not owned by the player are owned or worked by other farmers behind the scenes for performance reasons. However, this makes the map a lot more alive because now you will see all types of crop growing everywhere instead of the barren wasteland that was the FS15 fields. I think that's pretty funny. When you interact with the field icon, you can talk to the field owner. He will usually offer you a mission or job on that field according to the type of crop growth and stage that it's in. For instance, fertilizing crops or harvesting sunflowers. To do the job, he will give you the tools that you need. You do not need to bring your own. This is incredible fun in the early game when you have no money to afford the cool things that you want to drive. So you get to drive them by doing missions. So it gives you an opportunity. Like you want to drive a harvester with a sunflower header. Find a farmer that's got sunflowers that are ripe, and go over to his field and say, hey, and he'll say, hey, would you like to harvest these? You say yes. And now your opportunity to drive and test out that harvester. And there's money. It says there's quite some money to be made this way to offset your own running costs. So you can, when your crops are growing or you're busy and there's nothing going on your farm, you can hop over to a neighbor's farm and do work for them. Pretty cool stuff. Now, we talked about that a little bit before, but that's pretty detailed now, so we kind of know what's going on. Animals, you already own a chicken, and they can neither be bought or sold. Interesting. Pigs, sheep, and cows can be bought and transported. They will reproduce if fed well. Oh, pigs will reproduce the fastest, as their only economic value is being sold for the livestock dealer. Okay, so pigs don't give you anything but bacon. But if you keep your animals well fed, they're going to reproduce. The animals have no water. Their productivity will be 0. 10% is reached with straw, except for the sheep, and another 10% with a clean trough area. So it sounds like we're going to have to clean out the trough. The remaining 80% are generated through proper feeding. For the sheep, you just need grass or hay. Pigs need a 50% base food of corn, 25% wheat or barley, 20% canola, sunflower, or soybean, and 5% potato or sugar beet. So to get your pigs up to 100%, you're going to have to feed them all those different types of food. It's pretty cool. Feed does not need to be mixed. So just drop it in the trough. Pigs aren't very picky. If you don't really need 100%, simply go for corn and wheat. So that's going to, if you do corn and wheat, that's going to automatically give you 75% productivity. To max them out, you'll need to feed them everything. Cows, they need 50% hay or silage, 30% power food, which is contained partially in TMR, and 20% fresh grass. You can now feed cows on hay and fresh grass alone and get up to 70%. By the way, the hay still stays in the loading wagons now. That's pretty cool. To max out 100%, you have to feed them TMR, which counts as base food and power food at the same time. So the TMR, just like in the original game, you need to get it. So, but in this case now, you not only give them the TMR, the total mixed ration, which is what you use those mixers for, you also have to give them 20% fresh grass. Last but not least, some of these we've already heard of. You can play as a farmer or a farmette. They say farmeress. I would say farmette, but whatever. The bale trailers and others have dynamic tension belts that can be used to strap down bales, wood pallets, or big bags for safer transport. So you can now tie things down. You got tie downs. Small physical objects like small bales and stuff like that can be carried, thrown, dropped. Initially intended to allow the players to pick up small wood leftovers, which are hard to grab with the front loader, and throw them in the chipper. That's really cool. This was extended to allow players to pick up any physical objects that are small and light enough just to play around with, like a basketball. That's seen in the demo. Internet radio streaming, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty cool, actually, because I listen to Bible study a lot when I play the farm sim, so that gives me a chance to do that. You can drive the trains to one of the selling points, which is an exclusive for train delivery. So the train goes to the place that you can only get to by train. Corn can now be chopped in the last still green grow stage. Oh, that's awesome. So you don't have to wait as long for the corn. Because, as you know, the corn right now, you'd have to chop it when it's already completely, oh my gosh, ripe. My brain just went totally blank. When the corn is ripe, which is brown. Now you can actually, in real life, they chop it when it's still green. They don't wait till it's brown. So here you have a chance to do this before it turns brown. That's pretty cool. So you actually can do it in the last stage of growth. Green. Let's see what else. Let's see, internet radio, corn, can we shop? Head IR tracking support. I hate IR. I've been messing around with it. I don't like it. I might have to buy an actual IR. I was trying what's it called? Tracker Noir, and it's always moving. Like I'm like bobbing my head, which I'm totally holding still, and it keeps moving. So I don't know. But Track IR is cool. Beacon lights can be set to use real lights if your PC is powerful enough. That just means that, on the truck simulator, when I turn on my beacons, you can see them reflecting off of everything. That's what it's going to do. Now, my computer should be powerful enough, but we'll see Once again, these guys aren't really known for their optimization, so we'll see what happens. Yellow-black striped trigger markings can be removed if you already know where stuff is and don't need them. Oh, that's cool. So you know how all the dump points and stuff have yellow and black around them? You can now turn that off. That's really cool. Minimap can be expanded to large or set up to normal GPS side or completely hidden. That's cool. So you have 3 different modes for the minimap. In the map menu, you can zoom and scroll on the map, set beacon markers for better orientation, and teleport directly to places, without the need to park a vehicle to tab there. Oh, so you can double click on the map and just be there. You don't have to walk or try to ride a vehicle over, or, a lot of times people would leave, like they're saying, you'd buy a crappy tractor and park it somewhere so that you didn't have to keep driving over there. So that's really cool. Like, let's say like the animal farm. You can keep all your tractors at the main farm, but then just hop down to the animal farm to see what's going on. Vehicles will keep the last camera position that you used. I love that. If you don't like being inside the tractor, because, a lot of times with some of these mods, you hop into a tractor and you're inside. I hate that. I want to be outside. But if you're parked backwards in a barn and you can't see where the tractor is and you just see the back of the barn when you hop in, it would be nice to have that tractor set inside so you can actually see where the tractor's headed. Now, the AI traffic works in multiplayer and can be turned on and off. I hope that you can bump the AI traffic around like you can in the mobile version, because it's a lot of fun to be able to push cars out of the way. Or that they're a little smarter and can drive around or back out, stuff like that. All right, so let's go ahead and hop over to the main page and look at the new vehicles. You can see here we have a huge list of new. Look at all this equipment. Now we're looking at each one. We have ACGO, which is the parent company for Massey Ferguson, Gleaner, maybe Caterpillar, definitely Fendt. Who else? I think McCormick. I mean, they own so many of the tractor companies. It's this huge conglomerate company that owns everything. I mean, they don't own New Holland and Case. New Holland and Case are one company. I'm trying to think of who else they own, but I don't remember offhand. We'll get there because we'll go through some of them. Here we have Amazon. Of course, we have seen some of these. We have the fertilizer pack. We have a couple different seeder sizes and a plow. And this doesn't mean that this is all that the game's going to have. They may have more stuff. They just may not update it, or they're just slowly updating it. But this stuff is probably already all done. I don't think any more is going to get added. I could be wrong, but like I said, unless they do a day of patch at this point, all of the disc games are not going to have it because they're making the discs now. They have to be. One of the things that's interesting to see, this was a mod that I had all kinds of problems with. If you guys watched my Cold Burrow farm, I tried this out and had all kinds of issues. It'll be interesting to see how they fix this. But this is the Artisan 4-stack. It allows you to grab up to 4 bales and stack them in a stack of 4, and then you can load them onto a trailer using a front loader. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Actually, this is an 812, so I don't know if this is maybe... Let's see, info. Doesn't give me any info. Okay, but this is neat that they added this in. It's a cool device. If you see it in real life, it's really cool because it helps you collect the bales on the field without getting into this crazy, stacker. Bergman. Here we have the Bergman. This is going to be a really huge auger wagon, and then of course we still have our old collection wagon that was in the other game. There's the Brantner trailer. We have Bredel or Breedel. I don't know. Fertilizing equipment for solid fertilizers. All the Capello stuff. You got the corn headers. Now you have sunflower headers. This looks like a Forage. Yeah, Forage Harvester headers. Looks like there's going to be more coming. So we have at least a mower. We have Kirill Nicolas. Fertilizer sprayer. Maybe water too. Case. Whole bunch of case stuff. But we still only have 2 tractors. We have the Puma. The Puma. We have the quad track, but we're missing that middle level tractor. I'm not sure where that went. How did it go, Ryan? Did you wreck the car?
Yeah, I got a ticket too. No.
A ticket. Wrecked the car and got a ticket. Ryan has his license now. Pretty scary. Same harvesters that were in the last game.
I went and drove around.
You drove around a little bit?
The neighborhood just to get used. On the test, they said
Hold on, folks. I don't see here the big monster header that we used to have. But we don't have the giant Hace. We don't have the biggest case harvester either with the tracks. So I don't know. Maybe there's more coming. I would imagine they're going to keep that stuff in Here we have the Challenger product line. We now have 2 different Challenger tractor style or bulldozer style tractors. And we still have this huge Challenger MT900. So we have the 700, 800, and 900. I don't see it coming soon, so there's probably no more coming there. Deutz Fahr. We have the classic Deutz, of course. It's always going to be in the game. That's probably the tractor that we all start with again. But now we have a Series 9 tractor. This is new. We had the Series 7 in the last game. Great tractor, 270 horsepower, 263. Could you see what that's going on with those kids, right? The kids are all screaming in the bathroom. More coming from this company. Looks like we have some logging equipment. We have like a stump grinder or skid steer loader type device for our JCB skid steer. Einbrock. Hey, look at this. A rotary. This is a weeder. So we're going to have to deal with weeds, huh? Some kind of cultivation device. I don't know. You guys that do farming probably know what these are. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a farmer. But this looks like definitely a cultivator here. I was going to say a windrower, but it's not. That's something different. Looks like it's for chopping up weeds. Farm Tech. We have a Farm Tech trailer from the Gold Edition and now a new Farm Tech manure spreader. And I don't see any more coming soon, so that might be it from Farm Tech. Fendt. Jade mentioned she was sad that there's no 1000 series tractor like the 1050. But we do have a 300, which hopefully this will be a starter tractor that's already in the game, 100 to 138 horsepower. We have a 700 series Vario hitting up to 240 horsepower. Now this is cool too. They're giving us horsepower ranges, so I'm imagining you'll be able to buy the tractors and get different horsepower, different motor settings for it. So you can start with a smaller engine and then buy a bigger engine later. That's going to be pretty cool. So. But there's three Fendt. Fliegel. We have our the bale trailer, the infamous. It looks like there's more coming from them. Right now we have these items. Tipper, log trailer, dolly, Fliegel. Same stuff from the other game. Grima. We have where's all the big harvesters? But we have these in here. Heisomat. Oh, awesome. A wood chipper, like a regular wood chipper. Awesome. No arm. How do you load it? You probably have to use a front loader to load it, but that's great. I love it. Holaris. Levelers. Oh, that's cool. So a new type of device for leveling the field out. Homer. Finally, the Homer stuff shows up. Here we have the variant, or not the variant. The variant's not here, huh? But there's a coming soon, so I imagine it probably will be in the game. But we have the Homer DLC, basically minus the the Terra Does. Seeders and cultivators from Horsch. Big seeder right there. That's cool. Like that. Easy to drive, too. It doesn't have that stupid tank in the middle, though. You probably have to fill it up more often. We have Herliman. Both the XM4 or T4i and the H488 are back in the game. These are tractors that were in the last version.
Good night, Daddy.
Are you going to bed now, Goosey? Good night, sweetheart. Oh, I blew it. All right, yeah, you guys need to go to bed. You're right. Let's see. JCB. Oh, yeah. Okay, we've added a ton of stuff. Looks like there's nothing more coming, but this is like the whole... We've got our telehandler, everything that was in the JCB DLC, in a new skid steer. So we have the old skid steer, and we have a new one. This is awesome with the tracks. Hopefully it's easier to drive. And on all the skid steer attachments, of course, the front loader and the telehandler use the in-game stuff. So we don't need separate ones for that. You got a Gents chipper. Looks like there's going to be more coming from Gents. Johnsard, another chainsaw. Joskin. Oh, a whole bunch of new stuff from Joskin, too. Look at this. We have a slurry tank. Category animals. Is this water? Aquatrans. That's probably a water, right? Good night, Cha. I love you. Hold on, folks. All right, so we have Joskin. Like I was saying, we have a bunch of new stuff. We have a tipper, manure spreader, and the animal trailer. It says more coming, so we'll have more coming soon. Go. The Karcher washer. Yep. Crockerling. Yeah, cultivators. That's what they make. Grant. Here we have all the slurry equipment, slurry porting equipment. Cramp, big butt trailers, agroliner, the I'm sure we'll have the other tipper, the other Kroger Fliegel tipper that we normally get. But here's the Kroger with a trailer hitch, like a standard trailer. We usually have one with a dolly, too. That probably will be coming. Corona. So here we have the Big X 580. Oh, where's the Big X Big X? I don't see the 1100 listed, and there's no coming soon. So they might have... We may not be using that anymore. But that's cool, because this is a more affordable edition. So we have the Krone Big X, the Little X 580. And we also have the matching Krone, what do you call this? Forage wagon. That's pretty cool. Plus all the headers. Kuhn mowing equipment. Oh, no. Windrower, plow, primer for the animals. This is our straw chopper. It throws straw into the cow bin. And some more stuff coming, it looks like. Kivernland. Yep, gold edition stuff. Lamborghini. Oh, we have the 200 horsepower tractor. 224. This has been upgraded. Okay. Lally. That's what we call Seth. Here we have a side style tedder, it looks like, right? No, these are still the big spreading rotary windrowers. Okay. And we have a Lally loading wagon. That's pretty cool. Lemkin. Got a cultivator, sower, and a huge Lemkin plow. Lieber, however you pronounce it. We have the same from the last game. Yeah, nothing new there. Lindner Lindtrack 90. I think that's what we have in the game already, but it looks different. Maybe it's different. I don't know. Lizard. We went over this already. We have the trucks. We have the pickup truck. Now there's a barrel style weight. And here's a roller. This is how you reset your terrain, is using the roller. So, ooh, Magsai. Whole bunch of different connectors, shovels, bale handlers for, looks like telehandler stuff. Wheel loaders and telehandlers, yep. Manitou. So now we have the Manitou also. Massey Ferguson. Oh, we see a bunch of new tractors here. This was not here last time. So we have harvesters, headers, tractors. We have this little guy with the little hood. What has he got? 105 to 130, 210 to 280, and 300 to 400. Awesome stuff. Great stuff. Mikola. Yeah, chainsaw. We have one tipper from Metal Tech. Actually, this is an auger wagon, sorry. That's cool. So we have now 2 auger wagons so far. Ooh, a big animal trailer. Awesome. For the semi-truck. Great. New Holland. All right, we have a T5. That's new. The T4 is gone, it looks like. Is there more coming? There says coming soon. So we may have a T4. We got a T5, a T6, a T8, and a T9. So still no T7, and the T4 seems to be missing. Once again, this game doesn't have much place for those smaller tractors, so I'm not surprised to see it going. Here we have an SP 400 sprayer, big business sprayer, huge harvester, the 1090, with that huge 45-foot draper. That's pretty cool. We have the balers from New Holland, the round and the square. It says there's more equipment coming, so we shall see more equipment. Ton of stuff from Pottinger. We have the full mowing kit. Also have the tedder, small windrower, and a loading wagon. It's probably more to come. Punts. Yeah, they're still in the game. Interestingly, Roslamash is back. We have both the 760 and the 1403 Forage Harvester. So we have the regular harvester combine and a Forage Harvester. We have the headers and the power stream. It says coming soon, so I don't know. I think we're probably missing the other, the 700 series power stream and the smaller Roslamash harvester. I think this is the larger of the two, but I don't remember. I think that's the larger. All right, Salford. We have one item in here, but there's going to be more, it looks like. We have a plow. Samey or Same or whatever. We have a Fortis. Somebody told me this is an English tractor company. It's cool stuff. 128 to 193, so it looks like it's upgradable like the rest. We have Sampo Rosenlew. Hey, the C6 is back. Looks like we also have a forestry equipment small cutter, kind of like the same thing as the Scorpion King, but this one's small. And we have our 14-foot header. But you need a cheap harvester to start with, so that's how they're handling it again, which is good. Mixing wagons from Silo King. Stepa. Hey, now we have 2 tractors from Steer. We have a Multi and the Terrace CVT. I don't see hitch points for loaders though, but you know, Steer or Steer, however you pronounce it, they're back in the game. I'm glad to see that. I was wondering. Chainsaw from Still, yeah. Stole all of our implements for our front loaders. Strautmann, yep, manure spreader and a collection wagon or loading wagon. Weights from Sewer. Tetra. Okay, so the Gold Edition truck is back in if you're into the Russian farming or Eastern European farming. Header trailers, yep. Hopefully the tie downs work on those. You might ask what this is, and I'm going to tell you, I have no idea. It's a water tank of some kind or some kind of fluid tank. It holds 370 or 3,750 liters of something. It's a MISC category. I don't know. Thunder Creek. It must be water, but I don't know. It doesn't say. So we'll see what that is. Ursus. We have our baling equipment from Ursus. Vaderstat, seeders, and cultivators. There's a new big seeder from Vaderstat, the Rapide 600S. Actually, that's the same one that's in the other game. And so is that. That's the corn spreader. Or seeder spreader. Vultra. Yeah, another ACGO company. So we have a 145 to 185, 210 to 250, and 350 to 400. Big tractors. Tedder from Viken. Vogelnut. We have the old, yeah, Zetter. Okay, the Zetters are all back in again. So we have the 150 to horsepower, 127 to 150 to Forterra, the Proxima front loader, and we have our little tiny Major 80. So that's cool. We still have a little tractor in this guy, but Zunhammer. Okay, good. These are in. This is great stuff. And a coming soon category. So I don't know. I don't know if that's everything that's going to be in the game. It seems like they said over 250 pieces of equipment. I don't feel like we did 250 pieces there, so there's probably more coming. Last but not least, let's see what they say for system requirements. Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 9, Windows 10, 2.0 gigahertz cross. Shooting low with the video cards, but once again, that's a minimum spec. So GTS 450, 80 AMD, Radeon 6770, those are all old edition cards, minimum of 1 gigabyte VRAM, but that's minimum. So 2 gigabytes of RAM and 6 gigabytes of free hard drive space. Those are really low stats, but I think it's going to be taking a lot more than that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for the talk. I can't wait till this comes out, less than a month now. Getting real excited for this, and definitely I'm going to be... I'd like to take a week off to work on it. I don't know. Work has been crazy lately, and I'm just very far behind on stuff, and I'm kind of getting stressed out here. I don't know that I'm going to be able to take the time off that I want to take, but we will see. Have a great night, guys. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you on the net.